Good afternoon, everyone. This is Xiaoyu Ma, bringing you the breaking news around the world. Today, let's go back 30 years to before India. Around midnight on the 3rd December 1984, methyl isocyanate (MIC) gas was accidentally released from the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant, exposing more than 500,000 people to MIC and other chemicals. The government of Madhya Pradesh confirmed a total of 3,787 deaths related to the gas release, just an accident or an omen proving that multinational companies do more harm than good. Multinational company is an organization that owns or controls production of goods and services in one or more countries other than their home country. While there are many benefits to multinational companies such as Union Carbide, there are also many downsides. Multinational companies such as Apple and Adidas thrive on inward investment, which offers foreign currency for developing economies, hence creating jobs and wealth around the world. Yet both of these companies have been known to use slave labor in the past. Adults and children in developing countries who are paid inadequately by Western standards. And this is evidenced in reports that have been released by both the New York Times and Global Post. These articles list working conditions as hazardous, with some employees having to stand so long that their legs swell until they can hardly walk. The success of these multinationals often comes from the consumers' need to buy goods and services that they are familiar with. For instance, food multinationals such as McDonald's and Starbucks can be relied on to produce a familiar product around the world. Yet this comes at the expense of multinational companies contributing to pollution and the use of non-renewable resources for profit, putting our precious environment under threat. For every positive effect that multinational companies have on our world, it is evident that there are negative side effects we must suffer through as a society. In terms of Union Carbide, the Indian government asked the company to build a plant for the manufacture of 7 pesticides commonly used throughout Asia. Union Carbide was renowned for being a chemical manufacturer and would deal in markets such as paints, packaging, and pharmaceuticals. Since this time, Union Carbide has developed a notoriously bad name for itself. In 1984, due to widespread crop failure and famine, there was little need for farmers to invest in pesticides, and hence the plant began manufacturing at 1/4 of its production capacity and was put on the market to sell. When no buyer could be found for the failing plant, Union Carbide made the dangerous and fatal decision to dismantle fundamental production units and keep the plant running. Because of this, a safety valve gave way, sending a plume of MIC gas into the early morning air. The effects were horrendous. Locals today recall seeing friends dying while vomiting or foaming at the mouth. Survivors affected experienced blindness, cancer, neurological disorders, and psychological damage. Compensation for survivors of the gas leak was very little and extremely slow to come. In February 1989, 5 years after the disaster occurred, Union Carbide agreed to pay $470 million, 15% of the initial claim from the U.S. court. This showed the public that Union Carbide had an unwillingness to own up to their own actions and the devastation they had inflicted upon the people of Bafo, India. In Australia commenced in 1957 while providing Australian homes with famous and useful products such as cling wrap and everyday batteries. Union Carbide was also carelessly polluting their soil and rivers with toxic wastes. Union Carbide would deposit spent lime and ash into Homebush Bay, contaminated soil that would flow into the Sydney Harbour, and the practice did not cease until 1970. Shareholders were to have the same agenda as stakeholders, which the corporate social responsibility is in place to enforce. Then we should steer clear of incidences such as the Bafo disasters and those pollutions. On both the global and national scale, the negative impacts of our current multinational companies far outweigh the positive. Many create wealth and jobs around the world and provide us with our most reliable and effective everyday products. They are also interested in profit at the expense of the consumer and carelessly pollute our environment to serve their needs. Nowhere is this more evident than in the case of Bafo disaster caused by the carelessness of Union Carbide officials, not only polluting the environment but killing thousands of helpless people. A future where greed and over excessive profit is not a factor in the maintenance and sustenance of multinational companies. With the implementation of the CSR scheme, it's a future where we can all live without the worry that our most trusted manufacturers are in fact killing us slowly. Thank you for watching today's news. See you next time. Bye!